while this is about active listening, I'll also be sketching it, and maybe you can use this as a way of doing live sketch notes. Active sketch notes are more about active listening is more about listening than hearing. Hearing is just a psychological, physiological activity of actually the sound waves going into our ears, and we noticing that there is something being talked about, but we don't process that. And one of the best example is, maybe when you are sitting through a meeting or a conference talk, and take tons of notes, but when you looked at them later, they don't make sense, or worse, you can't remember what was actually important, what actually happened, because you were just taking notes, you were just translating what is being said to the paper. The concept of take notes from my last newsletter. And this is where active listening and sketchnoting comes together as a powerful combination. So active listening is all about hearing plus processing, and then plus, which is optional, which is reflecting. Okay, now for this to happen in Sketchnotes, it looks like, hey, there is a 3-step process, but only when practiced well, it can become a habit, and we can do it really well. um, it's about listening with intent and capturing only what truly matters. So there are two important parts. The first one is intent, that, hey, I'm really interested in this topic, so I have an intention to make most out of what's said, right? I'm not hearing it out, I'm just listening with intent because I want to make use of that information. And then capturing only important points, so capturing keywords. So here is where it makes connection. How do we know what is important? So two ways. One is tying it to intent, what you really intend to hear. And this can a lot of time become biased because you are having your own lens on top of it, and you are listening through your own mind's eye, right? So, and based on what it already knows. So when you tie it with your intent, it can be biased, but then it's okay. That is your way of listening, because you are focused only on that information. The another one is, whatever topic is there, we keep an open mind, and we try to capture things that resonate with us, or with relation to topic. So let's say if there are few pointers which are talked about, we don't know, or we think that, hey, it is related to me, or I don't know about, or I want to learn more about it. So these three are the connecting points on how to say what is important for me to capture. Now, once you have this thing in place, it can be practiced often, and then we develop that muscle. So, how do we actively listen? What are the practical ways of doing that? So the first one is, right. So practical tips. First one is being present, which means that you are not distracted by anything else. You are just focusing on what is being said. Okay. Second one is filtering information, which means that you are not capturing everything that is being said, but of everything that is being said, you are tying it to what's important to you. And how do we get importance is these are the 3 points. And based on that, we filter information and we capture that only. And the last one is finding patterns. So, which is very interesting. So this happens in sequence. So first one is being present. Only when you set yourself up for capturing or listening with intent, then only you can proceed to the next step, which is filtering information based on what is important to you. And the third one, which is connecting the dots. So of all the information or keywords that you have captured, you build connections, which is you try to find patterns in the collected information. So this is like meta thoughts, right? So normally my sketch notes stop at number two, but finding patterns happen only when I look at those sketch notes, maybe 3 4 days later, trying to reflect on it, or if I've created sketch notes on similar topics, multiple sketch notes of similar topic from different sources. At that time, I start creating connections. So one of the patterns that I have found is after sketchnoting and listening to podcasts of content creators who are successful is consistency. And consistency in any form. It can be not good looking, not worth sharing, but still being consistent in creating and then sharing. Creation helps us in doing that action, and sharing puts accountability on us. And together, they have built consistency, and that has actually led them to what they are today in terms of their thought process, popularity, or whatever. Again, we have to understand what's important to us. Cool. So, how to apply active listening in sketchnotes? This is more like a framework. Now let's look at how to actually do that. Right. So first one is listen for the big idea or the main concept first. So have your big idea. In any sketch note, whenever you are doing, the big idea can be the topic of the speaker, or what you intend to learn, or have it captured like we did it over here in Fun with Typography. That's the big idea or main topic. So we capture that, maybe place it in the center or wherever based on the layout of your choice. Second one is use visual hierarchy, right? Which is, oops, wrong. This is wrong. Okay, which we have already learned how to build a visual hierarchy by giving title a bigger shape, subtitle a smaller shape, and then body a smaller style in terms of. And then we can always also have bullets or arrows or connectors to do that. The last one is capturing emotions, and we have been doing this since last 2 months. We have been capturing emotions as body poses, right? And the other way is, and this is the most common way that we have come across so far, which is facial expressions. But no, all of you have learned in last 2 months how to capture emotions in different situations using different objects in context to express those emotions. So that's how we do it. So whenever we are creating sketchnote, always make sure that we have that human, and almost all of you are doing it, to humanize our sketchnotes. So, in a nutshell, active listening is a kind of superpower. The more we sketch note, the more we take notes in this format, it builds our active listening muscles. Cool. So, next time you are in a meeting or a talk or in our weekly warm up, don't just take notes. Listen first, then sketch, and that's how you will build your super muscle. Active listener. Okay. Thank you, Jatin. Yeah, capturing emotions is really important because most of the time when we take notes, even I have fallen prey to that, which is take notes just like text only. But emotions, if even if we don't want to capture the real emotion, even if we draw a profile picture like that right next to our text, that's good enough. And then we can add either of the three emotions, which is happy, meh, or sad, right? And these are not faces of Ravan, by the way. So yeah, that's there.